Yeah, I get to play the entity, which is a exciting role to be a godlike figure. As you can tell from my accent, I'm an American. I've been living in the UK for the last 23 years. I'm a retired doctor, and now I'm going to try my hand at acting. But now that I'm retired, I'm giving it a shot, and I'm having a ball. So the entity is a godlike figure, and I think in the casting call, he was supposed to be something laid back. Some of the characters that were suggested was the God figure that Morgan Freeman played in Bruce Almighty, but also the Big Lebowski. How that happened, I don't know, but I guess that's the laid back part of it. I like the original story. I like the adaptation even better. The original story has what I think a somewhat unpleasant aspect in that the guy who dies, marriage is falling apart, or his wife is, as they said, she's not going to miss him as much. She's going to feel bad about it, but she's not going to really miss him. I think that the conflict that George has brought in between the girl dying and not really accepting it, but coming around, and then her interaction with the entity, I really like this adaptation, and that's why I wanted the part.
My name's Abigale Mahony. I'm an actor from Grantham in Lincolnshire, and I recently graduated from the Oxford School of Drama as an actor, and I speak Spanish. Not many people know that. And yes, I'm really excited to be joining in on the project for The Egg. Yeah, so my character is Sam. She's a young sort of 20-something-year-old woman who gets killed in a traffic accident and then faces the afterlife. So the majority of the movie, she's sort of battling with coming to terms with the reality that her life has ended. But the film is there's such massive existential sort of themes going through it. So it's interesting playing a role very sort of naturalistically, as though she's having a conversation, and yet in the bigger picture it's so massive that if you go into it in too much depth, you end up becoming extremely existential. It's a story that you don't see very often in terms of, I hadn't read the story before, so I hadn't even heard of it. I'd heard of Andy Weir, but I hadn't heard of The Egg. And so automatically it catches like my attention as soon as I sort of read the synopsis. I was automatically on board with, okay, this is different, this is interesting. So I think naturally people are going to be drawn to something that they wouldn't automatically have seen. It's some really, really lovely, cool students putting together a film that they really care about, they're very passionate about. And I'm really excited that I'm on board with it. So yeah, you should be as well.
My name is George Bogush and I am the director. My favourite part of the production was really working with the actors and developing their characters further, both like in meetings beforehand and also on set, as I feel like this kind of relationship we had allowed for a lot more dynamicism in both like the writing and also the performances we got out of them. I came across it on YouTube. There was this animation done by a YouTube channel I cannot remember the name of. I watched it and I was just enamored by it, and actually about a year ago I wrote my own version of the script to do outside of this project. And I tried doing it, but an actor dropped out on the day that I was supposed to film it. And so when the opportunity came up to do it again, I jumped at the opportunity. I was so excited to have a proper go at it with a full crew and budget. It was fantastic. Visually, I was looking for something in the sense of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I really wanted this kind of surreal, ethereal look for it. And I feel like working with our cinematographer and production designer, we really did achieve that. I think also, again, like I said, my inspirations were like TV show like Good Omens, and this kind of high concept, big drama, but with a tongue-in-cheek tone to it, which I really like. I think, to be honest, this is exactly how I wanted it to go. The only thing I can think of doing differently is it maybe having a different variety of locations, but really, I think what we did get was fantastic and works really well. After auditioning them, I knew they were perfect. They just knew exactly what I wanted from them. They researched the original story very thoroughly, and after talking to them for a little bit, they were just so on board with what I wanted, and they knew exactly what to do, and it was really difficult directing them at parts because they already got it. They already just nailed it, like, perfect in the read-throughs. So it was more of a discussion rather than like, well, they did that completely wrong. They were just exactly what I wanted, which was perfect.
My name's Katie Burns and I'm the producer of The Egg. I think we all worked really well together, which meant we could finish ahead of schedule. I'd say budgeting. It's hard to know what money you want to put into different departments and making sure that there's enough. Scheduling skills. I think it's really interesting, and the way we brought it to life is quite different. I can't wait.
My name is James Learoyd and I was the cinematographer for The Egg. My favourite part of the production has been constructing, in collaboration with the director, George, kind of an original type of aesthetic that is supposed to be representative of kind of like a dreamy afterlife world, because there's lots of opportunities there. It's an attempt to represent something that's expansive, but also something that can't be physically or geographically tied down. And that's very exciting for a cinematographer in terms of light. I think it's been unique, for example, how we use the 180-degree rule, how we both adhere to it and also use it to kind of disorient the space and adjust placements of objects whilst also staying consistent, but just a little bit disorientating. It really makes you think about morality and how that relates to a sense of togetherness, and it's all very intriguing. I'm very excited to see it all come together fully and then be put up there in the world for people to see.
I'm Finn Morris-Young and I am camera operator and editor. I think my favourite part of the production has been, being able to do a lot of interesting camera movements and try a lot of new things out on set, and just working with a lot of people that I enjoy working with. I think the biggest challenge that we faced was there are a few different quite technical shots and quite long sort of one takes. So sort of working around those and getting those practiced and perfect, I think, was probably the biggest challenge we faced. I really like the Egg story. I think what we've done with it has been really interesting, and the way that the narrative unfolds and the themes that it tackle are really great. And it's going to be great when we all get to watch it and enjoy it together.
I'm James Lovell and I did the sound recording and the Foley. We had the sound of the geese, the traffic nearby, the aeroplanes that seem to come over every 30 seconds, and the same woman who insisted on running past us whilst we were filming as well, all of which was picked up by the sound. So a couple of there were some where it wasn't too bad, but a lot of the time we did have to do multiple takes of the same thing just to make sure that we did get it. And I think finally in the end we did manage to get some that were usable. Now the filming's over, I am quite excited for it. When we were filming, I was interested, but I was also quite stressed with sound as well. But now that's all over, I am quite looking forward to it.
I'm Gemma Beardow-Jones and I'm the production designer. The whole thing, it was a really enjoyable experience to work with a good bunch of people. I think it went as best as it possibly could. I think it's a really interesting and unique story. It was enjoyable to film something that's quite different. As production designer, it was quite fun to explore and just go wild with stuff. Using domestic objects in an unusual environment. I'm excited to see our film be brought to the screen.
See you soon.